everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kaitou Sentai LupinRanger versus Keisatsu Sentai PatoRanger. I am Vashiv, and joining me today are...
Decade.
And the Little King, and if there's one less voice than normal, that's because, well, do you boys want to say it, or should I?
Rai had to work. I mean, there were other issues, but I don't know if that's stopping him from working.
He's dealing with the aftermath of a car accident. He's fine. All he hit was his shoulder, but he'll need time to recover. And, buddy, if you're listening, our thoughts and prayers go out to you, and we hope you have a smooth recovery.
Yep. So today we're talking about episode 48. So, the Granio is kind of just toying with Noel. Noel asks the Granio why he killed Arsene. He replies that it was just because he had some things he wanted. That's all. No deep conflict. Of course, that pisses Noel off. He proposes to Gosh that they make Noel's death interesting. So, at Gerard, Umika is worried that they might be under surveillance. Thomas suggests that they pack up and leave. Umika understands, of course, but she does really like living and working in Gerard. She wants to keep working there, serving the police, even after they save their loved ones. Goody barges in and tells them about Noel, because he was captured with the police. And then we get the opening. Thoughts?
I've noticed that over the past couple episodes, this hasn't felt like we're approaching the end game. I mean, yeah, there have been hints sprinkled here and there, like the whole Sakuya Umika thing ramping up, and the last couple weeks has been hammering home, but other than that, I can't really think of much, but now this episode starts like, okay, now we're ramping this up, now we're approaching the end game. And I like that Del Granio's finally at least trying to get some characterization. His descriptions and such, and how he's acting towards Noel makes him feel a bit like a wild card. I mean, and I think they have mentioned that he used to be one a while ago, but it's just a shame that we never got this much development, or at least fleshing him out earlier on, especially with the main bad. I get that they're trying to, get it done now that we're towards the end in the last 3 episodes, but it's just a shame that they couldn't do it sooner. In any case, I'm happy for it, and yeah, he's still a dick. You do not fuck with Noel. But one thing I like is the LupinRangers and how they're all taking this, because it almost feels like, well, not so much that they've switched roles, more so that their priorities have changed, I guess. Because, like, especially over the course of the series, Umika has always been the, I hate using this word for her, but the coward, I guess. Because, when Noel first showed up and they thought he had been arrested, it's like, nope, she was the first one to go, nope, we're packing up, we're booking it, let's go. But now that she's starting to have feelings back towards Sakuya, and she feels bad for lying to him, she's starting to have second thoughts. It's like, well, what if I don't want to go back to my old life? What if I want to keep being with these people, keep doing what I do here? And it's interesting, especially now that Toma's basically, I mean, I get that he has to take responsibility because he's the oldest, of course. And he's like, no, I mean, we're gonna get found out if we keep this up. We need to get out of here. And Kairi, well, he's just Kairi. I can't really say much else about him. But overall, I really liked where they went with this.
Like, the way their attitudes have changed, it's been a slow change for them, but it has been changing. Kairi started off more hot-headed and more that fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want kind of mentality, and that started to shift more towards taking advice and whatnot and actually working through problems together. Tuma he's grown further into that role of, like King said, that big brother role. that level-headed, this is what needs to happen because this is the situation. Where Umika, through the series, I wouldn't say coward, I would say, and it's a slightly poorer word, but immature. In the terms of she was unsure of herself, whereas now she's matured to the point of knowing what she wants, what needs to happen to get what she wants, and understanding the conflict within that versus what they're attempting to do. In terms of giving DeGranio backstory or characterization, his entire character has been, and I feel it's perfect for the series of, fuck it, I don't care, I'm out. While yes, he is the big bad of the series, because of that, he hasn't felt like it. So, beyond one or two moments, he's not felt like a threat. He's just been that guy. So, them pushing him now with the way they're doing it, it works perfectly because he's starting to get excited about shit again. Which I feel is part of why he was retiring anyways, is because he was bored. And now he's not. Especially now that he has Noel, who is one of the escapees when he murdered everybody. And the fact that he killed Lupin literally for shits and giggles. I kind of like that aspect, because it adds a little bit of depth to his character that a lot of people overlook. It's not the fact of he's a villain because we made him a villain. No, he's just a villain. Pure and simple. There's no tragic backstory, nothing that why he's doing what he's doing. It's simply because I can. And I like that aspect, because we here lately it's always been, oh well, I was betrayed when I was working with you guys through this resistance, Q Ranger, and now I'm going to become the big bad because I felt betrayed, or I'm going to be a big bad because I'm really made up of a bunch of these little people, these little grunts, but I'm going to mask that by being an evil little shithead. And this is literally just somebody who went, no, I just want to kill people and steal shit. I mean, that was his entire goal up until this point. And I like that aspect. I like that it's simple, especially for this type of character, because it works, because he's a very inactive big bad.
Yeah, that is a good point. So we get the episode title, number 48, The Face Behind the Mask. So the police are surprised that Noel isn't human, but of course they're still going to rescue him. But they don't really know how, since he's in the Ganglar world. Gosh interrupts them with a broadcast, and Kogure shows the thieves on a tablet. Gosh announces that she's going to dissect Noel live at a water purification plant that's kind of like downtown. Kogure tells them to abandon him to avoid what's definitely going to be a trap. They should just retrieve the pieces that Noel gave to the police. The police deploy, even though it could be a trap, and the thieves tell Kogure that Gosh has collection pieces too, so they will retrieve them and save Noel. Pretty good moment for both teams. Any thoughts?
Okay, one little behind the scenes thing. Bashy and I were talking a bit about how Gosh was defeated, spoilers for a little bit later, and I told him, you know what, sympathy be damned, especially after this, because that bitch just tried to do a live dissection of a, though they don't know this, human being. I mean, technically, human being. My point still stands. A live dissection of an innocent man, and a cop no less, because she felt like it. What sympathy am I supposed to feel for this bitch again?
Well, I mean, that's the point. She's the villain. You're not supposed to feel sympathy. You're supposed to hate her.
True, but I meant for later. We'll get to that. Anyway. As for the Lupin Ranger stuff, I think what really stood out with this interaction was, okay, for one thing, Kogadai still bugs me. Not so much because I don't know what his deal is. Now it feels more like he's just there to make an argument. He's just there as another obstacle. That's usually what he feels like he's being presented as, especially in this case, because it's like, okay, he's dying, we're screwed, we have to get his pieces and book it. And he's not an assistant, he's an obstacle every time he shows up. And I will admit I could be wrong in some cases, but for this one, that's what it feels like to me. And I think what really stood out was the Lupin Ranger's mind frame this time. Because, one, I love the loophole that they used against him. It's like, well, she has pieces too, so we'll go there for her, and then, let's face it, he knew, they knew, everybody knew. They were going for Noelle from the start. So, my point is, I think the mind frame was at the forefront for the Lupin Rangers this time, because from the very beginning, we've all known their code. If one of us dies, that's fine, but even one of us, have to keep going to fulfill the other's wish and bring the loved ones back. Noelle is one of them. They could very much go by that mind frame right now. They could choose to do that. It's like, we're gonna grab the pieces, we're gonna book it. Screw you, Noelle. If the cops save you, great. If not, then it was nice knowing you. They could have just grabbed her pieces, grabbed his pieces, and gone. But they chose to go after him. They're done with that line of thought. And I like what Vashi said earlier about them maturing. I feel like this is another example of that. Because, they're maturing past the point where all they see is fellow thieves and coworkers. Now they're looking at each other like, well, Umika's the little sister of all of us. Toma's the big brother. Kyrie's the leader who's gonna bring us forward, but he'll still stand by our side. And Noelle is one of us too, so we can't just leave him behind. They're abandoning the idea of, all for one. They're going for the idea of all for one for all, and they're finally willing to see each other as more than just thieves. They're willing to look at each other and Noelle as family, as, well, to be cliche, a Sentai. And I absolutely love that they've come this far. And I'm sorry for rambling, but had to get it across.
This was a damn good scene on both sides of it, because you have the police who very aware that it's a trap, doing what they should do because it's police. Go in and save your man. But at the same time, they're doing it not just because he's just a member of the police. He's doing it because they've gotten close. As much as they suspect him of not being on the up and up, he's proven himself to them. And it's an excellent display on the police's part. As for the thieves, every part of that, everybody had good points. Even Kogadai. Because Kogadai's was, this is a trap. You're going to be exposed. You're going to be hunted now. So if you go now, you're fucked. So, and he was trying to keep them to the code that they had to start with, of everybody for themselves kind of thing. Because that's what they had pointed out in the first episode of, yes, we're in this together, but I don't need to help them. And that's, in theory, the way that should work. One gets caught, cut him off. So, having that changed with the thieves, with the way they're at, it shows growth of them getting closer. Well, they've grown to be a family rather than just partners. And the fact that they include Noelle in that is phenomenal. So them coming up with the loophole of, yeah, she's got collection pieces, so we're gonna go take hers. It's a good play because that way they can still look at Kogure and go, we're keeping to the code, we're not going to save him. If he happens to be there, we might get him too. And it's all one of that brilliant cover of, we're going to go rescue him, we're all aware of this, but to put your mind at ease as to our motivations for doing this, vocally, this is what we're doing. We're going to go steal her collection piece. And it showed to me that shows that they understand Kogure's worry with all of this, and it shows that they understand the worry, and they have that worry, but it's the right thing to do and what they need to do, and it's played off amazingly. And that little spat with Goody and Kogure was great too.
So, the global police arrive. DeGranio and Gosh are waiting. Of course, Potamon attack, the Keisatsu change. Gosh is just way too strong with her sword arm piece and knocks them out of their forms. And even though it isn't the time yet, she's ready to cut up Noelle. But she gets blasted at the last second. The Phantom Thieves swoop down. DeGranio stands up. He's pleased to meet them and tells them to take their masks off. Of course, they're still being broadcast live, and Zamiko is excited to see DeGranio actually doing something. If they beat Gosh unmasked, Noelle will be freed, DeGranio promises them. Noelle begs them not to, but the thieves come to an agreement and unmask themselves. Of course, it's in slow-mo. We have epic music in the background. Sakuya, Noelle, and Kogure are distraught. Of course, Keiichiro and Tsukasa kind of saw this coming. So the whole world knows their identities now. The Phantom Thieves Kaitou change. And we get a pretty epic henshin too. Get to see the actors in suit before their helmets and capes appear. Goody arrives, and the police save Noelle by splitting Yugo into 3 to avoid DeGranio's attack, which was pretty cool, but it looked painful as hell for Ichigo. So, thoughts?
Okay. The reveal itself, Bashi and I touched on this behind the scenes a little bit too, and I'll let him elaborate on that, but I love that Yumika was the one who finally made that choice. And, of course, the reveal was friggin' epic, and the fight was, of course, incredible. Love the clever idea for splitting Yugo to dodge the attack. Kind of remind me a bit of X8 and the Mighty. There's just. Okay. The one thing that bugs me about this, though, is the stakes. And Dogranio doesn't help with that. Not just in that he's just one and done when the PatoRangers dodge the attack. It's like, fine, you got me, I'm done, take him. But at the same time, it was the whole reveal, the reasoning for it. It felt. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy this happened. But it felt less like, okay, we need to do this here and now because if we don't, he's gonna die. It feels more like, okay, we've got 3 episodes left, we have to do this now, let's just get this over with. And especially with the way Dogrino words it, he's going, take off your masks and fight Ghosh. If you win, I'll let him go. If it was more along the lines of, you know what, how about a trade? Your identities for him, just not even using Ghosh as the middleman. It's like, show me your identities and I'll let him go, no strings. And of course, I mean, they could do that and then just fight Ghosh anyways. Because they were gonna do that regardless of showing their identities or not. We knew that. So it just felt kind of a bit clunky, I guess, for the reasoning, and a tad rushed. And like I said, I'm happy this reveal happened. It's what we've all been waiting for 48 friggin' episodes. I just wish there was a little bit more stakes to this and a little bit more, not drama. That's not the word I'm looking for. Oh man. I don't know what word I'm looking for right now, but it's I just wish there was more behind it in order for it to really hit the impact and to really push forward the situation not as clunkily.
So I've had a little bit of time to think on this since me and King had talked about it. While I side with her a little bit with still that it did seem kind of rushed and kind of just thrown in for the reveal, thinking back on it and thinking about the type of man that Degranio is, or well, Gangler that Degranio is, where this is all entertainment to him. He doesn't care. He just wants to put on a good show. This, to me, this is the type of thing where he would go, you know what? Take your masks off. Fight her. If you win, I'll let him go. If you don't, and you defeat Ghosh, I'm still going to kill him. So that's how I'm looking at it, as it wasn't so much the defeating Ghosh that was key to it. It was, if you don't take your masks off and do this, I'm going to kill him myself. So it added to me, that adds to the reveal and the necessity of doing so. I love the fact that they gave Umika the choice, because none of them wanted to, and then Umika had decided this is the right thing to do, and even Kairi asked, "Are you sure?" It's showing how much she's grown within the series, of being that character that was just kind of there in terms of being very inexperienced as a thief, the one that is the clumsy thing that we would expect to be the one to give it away. And they changed it from it being us having the thoughts of, oh well, she'll be the one to slip up, to being the one that makes the decision to go, we need to reveal ourselves. And it plays beautifully. In terms of Degranio attacking Yugo, to slide back on that, that was a great plan, even if it was a bit stupid. Because let's face it, it's Degranio. If he wanted to wipe him out, he would have. That was at a point where he really didn't care what happened to Noelle. He just shot him because, hey, you're coming at me. Them splitting so that Keiichiro takes the hit, and they can still say, that was brilliant. That was beautifully tacticianed excellence. The suit fighting, or the henshin, by far my favorite one that I've seen in Sentai. Everything down from the way they look in the suits, looking perfect. I think the only other series that did this well was Go Buster, and that's because they were in the suits half the time anyways. And then the way the helmets formed in this episode, with the little hat emblems appearing and hanging in front of them, was fantastic. It was beautiful. For a series that can go either way for the final roll call, I really hope it's helmetless now. Instead of just completely out of suit, I want it helmetless, because it looks beautiful. and just the look of betrayal on Sakuya's face during the reveal too, of that I didn't want it to be. I knew it was true, but I didn't want it to be. Was soul crushing.
Definitely. So, Gosh summons another one of her experiments. This upsets Degranio. He tells her to fight alone and uses his collection piece to open all of their safes and steal their collection pieces. Zamigo couldn't be happier and calls Degranio my boss. Even though just an episode or two ago he said, I really don't give a damn about your organization. Outside, Noel apologizes. Nigo refuses to look at Yellow when she calls him. Noel Kaitou changes. We do a quick roll call, just the team names. And then they use their finishers to defeat Gosh and the experiment. But it's not over. Gosh uses the last of her strength to rip out her gold safe and put it in her monster. This is her final experiment. Other than the fact that it was super disturbing, the voice actress was just amazing. Because most of the time we've just gotten this, creepy, kind of seductive vibe, but she sounded like she was actually dying. It was so damn good. Thoughts?
Yeah, just oh my god, she is one of those characters, one of the few, besides Amigo, that just creep out and I don't want to be anywhere near them with any size or length of pole or distance whatsoever. The voice actress did job, and Dogranio double crossing her and stealing the pieces? Yeah, I'm not sure any of us expected that, but I think that's the point. Because, like I said earlier, Dogranio's a wild card. That's what they're going for with him. And, the fact that he just wanted to do it because he could. He's a bad guy just for funsies. I can see him doing this in his character, and I can see why he's pissed, too, because he's basically going, this is your fight. You don't call for backup. You started this, you finish it. And I'm wondering if his collection piece is like the one ring to control them all or some type of shit like that. I think that's what they're going for with him. So, him pulling out her pieces and his reasoning, what I think was really hit at home, it's like, I what the hell you want time. It's my turn to have fun. I loved that. And Zamigo I feel like the my boss thing makes sense, because he specifically said, I don't know if it was specifically actually. Basically, the point I'm making is he was deflecting the idea that he cared about the organization. Dogranio may be the head of that organization, but he's not that as a whole. He's his own dude. So I can see Zamigo respecting him rather than respecting the organization, especially because they're both very bloodthirsty, and I could be wrong, but the way that Zamigo's reacting towards everything with Dogranio, it feels almost like a father-son relationship going. Especially since when we were first introduced to him, Dogranio kept musing like, oh, maybe he'll be my heir in the competition, That's just how I felt, though.
That would add a whole level of disturbing to this show if Zamigo was Degranio's kid. The voice acting for Ghosh was, like Decade said, was phenomenal. Especially in this series has been kind of pretty decent with it too, considering the fact that with the show, voice acting is everything when it comes to the villains, because they're almost always now, it didn't used to be the case, but it is more so now, where all of the villains are suited. we have ones like Zamigo in this series where they have their human forms, but they're almost always monsters. We used to have them that had like human faces, like in Goanger and whatnot. So voice acting wasn't always a key. That was more acting. So with this, the voice acting being at the level it is phenomenal for Sentai. Um, the agony and the pain that she felt like she was in was disturbing. DeGranio double crossing Ghosh actually to me makes sense. Because to me it was also partly, hey, you've been sitting here talking shit, so fuck it, entertain me. Do it by yourself. Fuck your monster. Fuck your collection pieces. You do it. Since you want to sit here and talk shit. Knowing that she was going to die. Knowing damn good and well that the collection pieces and her monster would have been the only things to save her. And it's a brilliant move on his part because now he has more collection pieces too. So it was doubly motivated from, you've pissed me off one too many times by running your mouth, to, you know what, I'm going to keep a hold of these so I don't lose the entire collection. Because all he would have left at that point is what he had. And that's a smart play, especially with how the next couple episodes seem to want to go. So yeah, it was beautifully executed, even if it was a little bit unexpected. Because through all this, like, we're led to believe that like he cared more for Ghosh than he did for Destra, because he wanted to, because he seemed to have more connection to Ghosh. Like, Destra was just the guy who was there, who served him. He interacted more with Ghosh and sided more with Ghosh during the arguments that those two had. So it was unexpected, but it's beautifully executed. And also, the strange thing to me is that the creepiest moment in this episode to me did not come from Ghosh, but came from Zamigo's weird evil clapping thing he did. That was so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And in terms of the my boss thing, I think that it's more in reference to him looking at and going, here's the man that I decided to join the organization for. The man who did shit himself. The man who took control and actually did shit. Rather than the guy who just sat back and went, fuck it, I don't care anymore. So I think it was part of his attitude was more that whole "you've lost my respect" thing.
Yeah. So Ichigo's 2 week after being hit by DeGranio's attack. The thieves deploy their mechs. It was a pretty cool mech fight. For me, the first time watching it, it was kind of weird because the mechs are actually smaller than a lot of the buildings. But then I remembered that this is like implied to be Tokyo, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But it was definitely weird. So Sakuya is heartbroken. Keiichiro actually looks pretty composed. He looks like he already knows what he's gonna do next. But Sakuya is just bawling. Episode end. Thoughts?
Yeah, seeing Sakuya like that just. Oh, that just broke my heart. Poor boy didn't deserve that. And I can probably guess next week when Umika's probably gonna be the one bawling. If, at the very least, she's probably gonna be pretty banged up about this. And Keiichiro and Tsukasa, I get where they're coming from. And, obviously Keiichiro's come a long way, so thank God he's more composed now, but I don't even want to think about how he would have reacted had he, found this out earlier on when he was still as hot-headed as he was. But my point is, I mean, it was hard seeing their reactions. It's just okay. I know I have a lot of complaints about this episode, but I really did like it. I swear. The mech fight, of course, was awesome. It's just one thing I wish they'd done is not cop out on the Pat Rangers and instead make them go VSX. Because if they had, then that would have made, well, at least I think it would have made the whole, like, the reality of it hitting the Pat Rangers feel a lot more, to sound like to risk impactful. Especially since now they're being forced to work together in VSX, and then when the fight's over, you could see them turn to the living room and it's like, okay, we have to question you now. I hope you realize that. It's like, nope, split it, and then they just book it in their mechs. Like, still have that part, but instead make it so that they're, like, running from the cops as fast as I can. It's like they're forced to team up, and it's like, okay, we're done, bye. And I feel like that would have made the impact hit just a little harder, but still, for what it was, oh my god, that hurt to see Sakuya so upset.
For me, I felt that they covered the whole forcing the team up thing when they teamed up to take out Ghost to begin with. Um, because that was one of those we kind of have no choice thing. Um, it also, with it being Keiichiro the one that said it, it also keeps that door slightly open for that him to be understanding, because he's already shown that he's understanding of the thieves. He doesn't like it. He has a clear definition that they're criminals, but he understands that whole greater good aspect. It's like that they're not doing it because they're bad people. They're doing it because it's a necessity. Um, it's more the whole. It's this is where it comes down to personal viewpoints versus the law. Um, I I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought the monster and the mechs were smaller than normal. Um, because that just looked weird to me when the monster was running through the thing, and I'm like, I thought the monsters are taller than this usually. Then my brain just went, different side of Tokyo, or well, Japan. Um, what threw me off was the size of Lupin Magnum, because they've shown that Lupin Magnum is the smallest mech, and here it is standing basically eye to eye with Noel's mech, and it's already been shown to be smaller than that. So that was weird to me. Um, the impact of basically the giving that moment to Sakuya was beautiful to me. Only because it hammers home that whole betrayal aspect of I didn't want to believe it, and now I'm forced to do it, and now I have to basically hunt down the woman that I'm in love with. And it's gut wrenching to watch that, and to have that look on Keiichiro's face where he looks to be torn between wanting to do what's best for Sakuya, which would be to let them go, leave them be, and what's the right thing to do for the law. Which I'm glad that they, even if it is just up for interpretation, that they've touched on that, at least being able to give people the opportunity to interpret it that way. But yeah, it was just one of those moments. I do have a theory. I don't see them being on the run for very long, because of Kyrie looking at Noel going, "You owe me one." after they saved him. And let's not forget, he works for French HQ. I see that getting resolved pretty quick. So we've covered everything on the episode, yes?
Yep.
Alright. Since Rai's not here, I had him give me what he would give for the notes, because this was such a good episode. So I'm going to read what he sent me that he wanted to say about the episode. Kogure wanting to give up Noel is a bold move he's clearly been preparing himself for. Followed up by the bold call out of Ghost still has collection pieces we need to take. Which is fair, they can't take him if she doesn't go to the human world. We get some nice context moments. Tsukasa once wondered why Noel didn't use collection pieces himself, and I was disappointed that nothing had come of it, but this is what it was truly for. The explanation, because it points out he can't use them because he's not human, which is why everybody else has to fire the mechs and his superior mode. The police wondering if the thieves knew about Noel, because why would they? They have no idea how in touch with thieves he is. An awesome initial fight with the police taking on Gosh again, which goes about as well as it did the first time. Granio being the one to call out the thieves on their identities is an interesting play. Seems he's shaken off his boredom and is finally excited. In big capital letters, the helmetless moment. This was perfect. The Yugo move to free Noel was a great plan, even though Granio could have done more to stop it if he wanted to. But the betrayal against Gush was the most interesting. His collection piece can open safes, just like Dial Fighter, so maybe his piece is akin to him, or akin to them. Also, it shows that Gush possibly meant nothing to him the entire time, despite being his female general. All she really did was sweet-talk him and take advantage of his resources. It was Destra that he truly cared about. He had to have known Ghosh would die without any collection pieces to protect her. And these are the people that beat Destra at his strongest. Based on the next episode preview, he's probably just taking all the remaining pieces and shoving them into his safe all at once. Can he do that? Probably. He has to have some strength for him to become the Gangler boss. Keiichiro saying just focus on the Ganglers for now was a good moment. At this point, he probably would have still said that not knowing who the thieves were, but this time it holds a different meaning. The mech fight itself was one of the best in recent Sentai history. Not a lot happened that we haven't seen before in the actual fight, but the ground perspective of the police watching it all play out above them is what makes this so great. This might be one of the best episodes of the series. You can tell the police are taking the reveal pretty hard, despite suspecting it. They've come to see these guys as friends. I'm super looking forward to the final 2 episodes. This show is amazing. And then later on we got on a discussion of Granio and Zimigo. Because I pointed out Zimigo being creepy, and I'm like, and his creepy clap, and Ride said, I guess he just missed good old Granio. I'm like, I guess he did. Also, still confused as to what he actually wants beyond fighting Kairi. Rai's thought is, same thing as Granio. Dude is bored, thieves are easy targets that entertain him. He said, Granio has been suffering from the I have everything, I've bested everyone, I have nothing left to aspire for mentality. Zimigo still seems to be more youthful and is still searches for his dreams. And Rai said, to add this to his thoughts, it is a shame that the thieves are abandoning Jure. With the public reveal, a lot more people are going to want to eat there. Which is a really good point. And he says, a lot of the public don't see them as criminals, and they're straight up more popular than the global police regardless. Which to me would be one of the masses would kind of block the entrances and stop the police from raiding them and all that stuff. So yeah, all in all, he loved the fucking episode. I think we all did.
For sure. Overall, it was pretty damn amazing. Just some awkward things here and there, but it's an awesome way to kick off these final episodes.
I recommend that. I had my complaints, yes, but overall, this was a fan-fucking-tastic episode, and what a way to kick off the end game.
Like, for me, a lot of the hiccups for this episode can be overlooked or explained in a manner like why did Granio just take out all of Yugo instead of just taking out the one? He clearly has the power to do that. He took out an entire field of people. It simply, he didn't care enough, which again would fit with his character. But this episode has been fantastic. This has been, since I started watching Sentai, I started with Shinkenger, and I've been watching it since, and I've been retroactively watching some of them. This is by far one of my favorites. This and Kaitou Soldier, or however the fuck you pronounce that one. The Samba dinosaurs. Everything about everything about this series is on a level of everything that I liked when Kamen Rider X8 was airing. It's like, even though there are slip-ups and faults with it, it's been nothing but a phenomenal ride. The writing has been excellent, the acting has been on point, the voice acting has been beyond amazing. And while yes, overall there wasn't a lot of plot up until the last couple of last handful of episodes, everything about this series worked, save for one episode, which I won't get into. Everybody knows what episode that is. It's been a fantastic ride, and I'm not wanting this series to end. It's like, this is one of those series where I wish they would find a way to do a second season. Only not do it like they did with Kaitou Soldier with the Brave version.
We don't talk about that one.
I want same people continue the story. But yeah, it's like, this series has been fantastic, and I'm not ready for it to end. Though from the looks of it, it will end on another fantastic fucking moment. And I guess that wraps it up for this episode. Thank you all for listening. We will be back tomorrow for Kamen Rider Zeo, and we will be back next week for the start of the finale of LupinRanger versus PatoRanger. Thank you all for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Adieu, and see you on the flip side.